Euranet Plus Panorama is a weekly review of European news broadcast by our network of EU radio stations.
Hi, I'm Jo, and you're listening to Euranet Plus Panorama. The protracted process to form a new College of Commissioners under Ursula von der Leyen concluded this week with more of a whimper than a bang. MEPs gave the new Commission a green light, albeit only a pale green one, on Wednesday the 27th of November. The VDL Commission Mark II only secured 370 of the possible 688 votes on offer, with 282 MEPs voting against and 36 abstaining. So while the Commission chief was celebrating after the vote, looked at historically, this was a pretty poor performance. As AMS reports, numerous members to the left and centre of the political spectrum have expressed dissatisfaction with the deal that was struck between the big groups, a deal that made this an all-or-nothing vote. MEP Martin Scheerdevan of the left group, for one.
After the hearings, a bad piece of political theatre unfolded, where in the end it was really just a matter of making backroom deals to allocate posts to each other. The European Parliament has abdicated its own control function vis-à-vis the European Commission.
For his part, Green MEP David Cormont suggests in an interview with France's EU radio that the inability to reject individual candidates goes against the spirit of the rules. But which candidates would he and his Green colleagues have voted against? Well, certainly Italy's Raffaele Fitto, who represents the right-wing European Conservatives and Reformists group. Cormont explains why.
Les Verts, majoritairement, ça n'a pas été mon cas, mais majoritairement, dit...
A majority of Greens, I wasn't one of them, but most of them said, we're giving our vote to von der Leyen. We're available to work with you. This was to avoid her giving in to the temptation to turn to one of the three far-right groups for support. This is important to understand. We said we're not convinced by Ursula von der Leyen. We don't agree with calling the Green Deal into question, but we do want to safeguard the European Union from collusion with the far right. She won by 41 votes, and the Green Group had given her 46 or 47, so she is only president of the Commission thanks in large part to the Green vote. And what does she do? She chooses to give an executive vice presidency of the Commission to one of the far-right groups, the ECR.
À un des groupes d'extrême droite, qui s'appelle l'ECR.
Hence why the French Greens chose to reject the new VDL Commission this week. But the 5 members of the Pan-European Volt delegation, which also sits within the Greens EFA group, voted in favour. Damian Burselager, one of Volt's 3 German members, gives their rationale for doing so in an interview with our Euranet Plus correspondent in Strasbourg.
We have to zoom out a bit and see in what kind of geopolitical situation we are. And then if you look at, for example, Romania, where there might be a populist president elected, if you look at Germany, where we don't have a government, if you look at France, where the government might fall soon, or also the US, where you have Trump just in the White House, I think we really need a stable European government. And that's why I think it makes sense to vote in favor.
This said, Burselager has a message for Manfred Weber, chair of the EPP group.
If you want a stable European government, you need to work with the Greens in a formal coalition and not with the far right.
More Greens and S&D members voted for the new commission than against it, but a significant number within each group abstained. One such was Luxembourg's S&D MEP Marc Angel. He thinks that Ursula von der Leyen's decision to cooperate with right-wing parties turned out to be a costly one. And he tells our colleagues at 100.7 why.
Because she lost 43 votes from the Socialists, 24 from the Greens, and she didn't even get that many from the ECR. So I hope she has taken on board the message, and we can now start working together, building majorities primarily with the pro-European parties.
That's right, German MEP Niels Goiking confirms to our Strasbourg correspondent. Forming a majority is ultimately what matters. But it goes without saying that, as a centre-right EPP member, Goiking approaches the issue from a slightly different angle.
Ja, am Ende braucht die Demokratie vor allem eins, eine Mehrheit.
In the end, democracy needs one thing above all, a majority. And you have to ensure this majority. You have to seek it and find it. So, of course, political groups and parties that have the greatest possible overlap will come together. And that is a completely normal democratic process, which is what happened here. In this respect, the way in which this commission was formed is, at the end of the day, completely legitimate. It also reflects the range of opinions across the member states as broadly as possible, because that is also a decisive component. The member states nominated the commissioner candidates. Our task as MEPs was to scrutinise the proposed candidates for their suitability. I think we did this well.
European Parliament Vice President Robert Zile, along with around half of the ECR group to which he belongs, backed the new commission. He believes that his right-wing political force now forms part of a new centrist majority, as he indicates to Latvia's radio.
Yes, we are. I think that the constructive way we took part in these hearings demonstrates this perfectly. The political groups on the left may not like it. They're trying to demonize their political opponents on the right by saying that we all want to leave the EU and break everything up. But that's a lie. They know this all too well, but they are attempting to increase their influence in the von der Leyen Commission by sidelining and demonizing their competitors.
To counter the vocal opposition to the Italian commissioner-designate, you might expect the party of Italy's outspoken Deputy PM, Matteo Salvini, which sits in the even further right Patriots for Europe group, to have voted largely in favour of the new commission. But if so, you would be wrong, as Salvini explains in a clip shared by our Radio 24 colleagues in Milan.
We proudly, and as people of our word, backed Commissioner Fito, who would have run into problems without the support of Lega and the Patriots group. But we were in no doubt about how to vote when it came to choosing between Italy and the rest of the world. We were the only party in the Italian Parliament to vote against this commission, one that has started out very weak.
Indeed, none of the 84 Patriots for Europe members were in any doubt whatsoever. They unanimously voted against. According to Salvini, this was primarily down to Teresa Ribera's insistence, as Commissioner-designate for a clean, just and competitive transition, that the Green Deal was still very much on.
Stellantis, Volkswagen, Audi and Mercedes, all of them closing plants and laying off workers. Renault is struggling too. The electric car has a 3% market share in Italy and 14% in Europe. You can advertise as much as you like. Buy an electric car, buy an electric SUV, or you're a second-class citizen. Yet it costs more, it pollutes more, and it is difficult to recharge. It is clear that it is a huge gift to China and devastating for the Italian and European economy and industry.
It is debatable, of course, that the Green Deal is responsible for all of our car industry's woes. To those towards the left and centre of European politics, who may be feeling uneasy about the composition of this newly inaugurated commission, the new Equality Commissioner, Hadja Labib, offers some words of reassurance about the strength of European democracy. She is speaking to RTBF.
We are a mirror image of today's society. We are faced with citizens who have very divergent opinions across the European Union, be it in Romania, Poland, Hungary, Spain, and so on. These are extremely different realities, and when you look at the political parties, even within the political groups, take mine, Renew, for example, there are still divergent views. This shows that there really is political integrity and reflection. It is ultimately the best proof of democracy that we can offer our citizens.
And in a separate interview with the same network, Thomas de Bethune, the head of the European Commission representation in Belgium, stresses that the Commission chief has effectively put a system of checks and balances in place.
Chaque commissaire a un statut égal.
Each commissioner has equal status, and the roles that have been chosen bridge several competencies. This means that the commissioners will have to work much more closely together, enabling each commissioner to play a role in the priorities and actions of the others.
Un rôle sur les priorités ou les actions des autres.
And, therefore, if we read between the lines, to act as a check on controversial decisions. The second VDL Commission will get to work this very Monday, and we'll be back at the end of the week to shine another spotlight on European news.